Stay ready. That way we don't gotta get ready.
After a heated argument on Instagram Live, Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez have brought back one of the most awaited fights in boxing history.
All the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost.
People are once again wondering if these two undisputed champions will ever fight each other in the ring after their heated argument. What began as another rumor turned into a heated argument. Canelo denied Crawford's claims that he was avoiding tough competition, but Crawford kept challenging him. Things quickly got heated during the Instagram Live show between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Known for being outspoken, Crawford came straight at Canelo, calling him out for dodging a fight with him or with fellow super middleweights. Keep going. Ender David Benavidez signed the deal. Crawford said it straight out and challenged Canelo to fight him. He didn't hold back and said Canelo was picking easy opponents to protect his reputation. Fight me or fight Benavidez, friend. You're out there picking weaker opponents and you know it. That's why you chose Berlanga. It was an easy night for you. Crawford said this about Canelo's latest win over Edgar Berlanga, a rising star boxer. And this wasn't just a shot. Crawford's words extended the criticisms that have followed Canelo for a while, claiming that the Mexican star is avoiding true threats in favor of easier fights to keep his undisputed status at super middleweight in Crawford's opinion. Canelo was picking and choosing who to fight, and Berlanga was just another name on a list of easy targets. Canelo, known for his calm demeanor even under fire, wasn't rattled by Crawford's claims. He remained firm, giving a sharp reply that dismissed Crawford's challenge without much fanfare. Like I always say, there are weight classes for a reason. Stay in your class and stop chasing the money. Canelo shot back, effectively shutting down Crawford's attempts to pull him into a fight. Canelo's response reflected his long-standing belief that fighters should stick to their divisions for him. Crawford's challenge, while bold, didn't make much sense given their size difference. After all, Canelo has been operating at 168 lbs and higher, while Crawford's success has been at welterweight, a much lower division. The idea of Crawford jumping up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo seemed unrealistic to the super middleweight king.
The power of Kovalev couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Berlanga couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez.
But for Crawford, the weight difference was irrelevant. He had already proven himself against bigger opponents throughout his career and saw no reason why Canelo should be any different. I'm ready to fight anybody. I'll fight you. I'll fight Ben. AIDS, you guys know I'm a problem. I'm not scared to move up. You're just scared of me. Crawford said, expressing his willingness to take on any challenge, fueling the fire, is the fact that Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority is still interested in staging this blockbuster fight, pushing it for December or January. Talks are going around about a massive event taking place in the United States, with Saudi involvement helping to make the dream fight a reality. This raises the stakes even higher for both fighters, and while the boxing world debates whether this fight will happen, the interest from Saudi Arabia only intensifies the speculation.
Catch weight. We can do something at a catch weight.
What weight you think?
Probably like 160 or something.
Cause you said you said 154 is the highest you wanted to go.
Yeah, 158, 160.
For Crawford, this fight represents a chance to make history by moving up 2 weight classes and facing Canelo would be one of the boldest moves in recent boxing history, cementing his legacy as a fearless competitor, willing to take on any challenge no matter the size difference. But for Canelo, the fight comes with more risks than rewards. Despite Crawford's skill, Canelo knows that defeating a smaller opponent might not gain him the recognition he deserves. If I beat Crawford, they'll say, well, he's smaller. It's a no-win situation for me, even though he's a great fighter. When asked about the potential matchup, Canelo expressed his thoughts. Canelo has been open about how he would approach a fight with Crawford in a recent interview with Fight Hype. Canelo acknowledged that Crawford's switch-hitting ability, his capacity to fight effectively in both southpaw and orthodox stances, would make him a tricky opponent. I think Crawford would be tough to prepare for because he goes southpaw and orthodox. I think he's a very difficult fighter. Canelo admitted that he still remains confident that he has the tools to win. He pointed out that patience and body shots would be the key to breaking down Crawford's defenses. Just be patient, prepare myself like always, and be patient. Work the body, but I think being patient is the key. Everybody looks for the head, and it's very difficult to hit that kind of fighter in the head. Canelo explained that Canelo's emphasis on body shots makes sense, especially against a smaller, faster opponent like Crawford, while Crawford might be able to evade headshots. Canelo's devastating body punches could wear him down over time, making it easier to land power shots later in the fight, while Crawford has been relatively quiet on how he would approach a fight with Canelo, his trainer. Brian McIntyre has not held back. McIntyre is fully confident that Crawford's boxing IQ and versatility would be enough to defeat Canelo, even with the size difference speaking to the fight. Hub TV earlier this year, McIntyre made his position clear. Bud beats his ass out, boxing his ass, just outboxing him. McIntyre dismissed concerns about Canelo's power, explaining that Crawford has faced big punchers throughout his career and knows how to take their power away. We know how to roll with punches. We'll take your power away from you. How do you take the power away from a power puncher? Timing. If the fight happens, it'll be an Errol Spence. Crawford 20, McIntyre said, referring to Crawford's dominant performance against Errol Spence Jr. in their recent welterweight unification fight. McIntyre also hinted at the consequences for Canelo if he were to lose to Crawford, saying that a loss to a smaller fighter would severely damage his reputation. I respect that Canelo said he would gain nothing from the fight, because you get beat by the smaller man. Now you're going to look like an asterisk. HH asterisk. Asterisk asterisk. Hardcore boxing fans know that Bud could beat Canelo. Though bigger, he lacks height and reach. McIntyre added that for McIntyre, the fight isn't just about size or power. It's about intelligence, and he firmly believes that Crawford's boxing IQ is superior to Canelo's. He's got a good boxing IQ, but he doesn't have that crazy IQ that Terence has, McIntyre said, emphasizing that Crawford's ability to adapt in the ring would be the deciding factor. While their heated Instagram live session has certainly stirred up excitement, there are still many obstacles in the way of making the fight happen. Canelo has already stated his reluctance to face a smaller fighter like Crawford, knowing that he would receive little credit for a victory. At the same time, Crawford continues to push for the fight, convinced that he can beat Canelo and add another historic win to his already impressive resume. When asked about a potential fight with Crawford, Canelo was quite dismissive of the idea. At first, he bluntly pointed out the obvious problem. Crawford size. I have nothing to win with Crawford. Canelo stated 2 or 3 weight classes less than me for Canelo. This fight doesn't make much sense. It's difficult to argue with that. Crawford would have to move up a considerable amount, and Canelo, having conquered multiple weight classes himself, doesn't see this as a challenge he needs. But interestingly, Canelo doesn't entirely shut down the idea either. But if the money is right, why not? Canelo added, leaving the door open just a crack. This simple remark throws gasoline on the fire, as fans know that in boxing, money talks and anything is possible if the price is right.
On the internet with Turkey Al-Sheikh calling you out, what's your response to Terence Crawford's call out tonight?
No comment.
While a Crawford fight may not be happening anytime soon, Canelo's dismissal of the idea gives fans the sense that he's willing to fight just about anyone, provided the conditions are right. However, there's another name that keeps cropping up, and this one seems to be a much more natural fit for Canelo. David Benavidez Dubbo, the Mexican monster, has long been viewed as one of the few fighters capable of giving Canelo a real challenge. A former super middleweight champion, Benavidez has been calling Canelo out for years, hoping for his shot at the champ. But as with any potential fight, there's more to it than just 2 guys stepping in the ring. Benavidez's situation is complicated. Despite his impressive resume and clear talent, Benavidez has had some setbacks, both inside and outside the ring. In his last fight, Benavidez made his light heavyweight debut, but it wasn't the explosive performance fans were hoping for. The fight left many underwhelmed, and since then, Benavidez decided to stick with light heavyweight rather than return to super middleweight, where he would have been Canelo's mandatory challenger for the WBC belt.
We want financials.
Tell him we going for Canelo next.
Yes.
Decision by Benavidez not to chase Canelo at super middleweight raised eyebrows. especially considering that he had twice held the WBC belt in that division. But Benavidez lost the title outside the ring both times. First in 2018 after a failed substance test, and again in 2020 after missing weight by 2 lbs. These moments of mismanagement have cast a shadow over Benavidez's career, and now with his move to light heavyweight, it seems like the potential Canelo-Benavidez showdown is slipping further away. Weight, however, remains a significant talking point when it comes to this fight. Benavidez is around 200 lb right now, Canelo said, suggesting that the weight difference between them might be too much of a challenge. His trainer Eddie Rosa extended the idea, stating super middleweight, 168 lbs is his weight, and that's the only weight they're going to fight for Roos and Canelo. The fight has to happen at super middleweight, and they don't seem interested in facing Benavidez up to light heavyweight for fans. The frustration is evident. Benavidez is seen as one of the few legitimate threats left for Canelo at 168 lbs, and many believe that it's a fight that simply has to happen. But for now, it's not on the horizon, and the path to making it a reality seems filled with roadblocks. As Canelo approaches his next fight, fans are left wondering how many more opponents there are for him. His resume is packed with champions from multiple weight divisions, and Edgar Berlanga marked his 66th professional fight, a massive number for any boxer with such a long career already behind him. It's only natural to ask how much longer Canelo will be in the game. According to him, the end isn't too close just yet. 4 or 5 years more, he said when asked how much time he has left in the ring. Maybe, I don't know. I like to see everything day by day.
I had Canelo like he can be beat. He's been beat before, so he can definitely, Buck got the tools to beat him. I mean, Buck got it in him. He has it in him.
Even though he's been boxing for almost 20 years, Canelo seems unfazed by the wear and tear that comes with such a long career. I feel like I'm 24. He added, mentioning that he still enjoys his training camps and fights for now. He's taking things one day at a time, and as long as he still enjoys the process, it seems he'll keep going. Despite this, fans have noticed that his recent performances have been lacking the explosive knockouts that once defined him. His last 5 fights have all gone the distance, and though his last 3 opponents have hit the canvas, none of them stay down for the count. When asked about this, Canelo dismissed any concerns, saying, "I take my time, I'm in no hurry to get a knockout every single fight. I take my time, and I show them how good I am in 12 rounds." Canelo's approach seems to be more about showcasing his technical skills rather than always going for the knockout, and he doesn't feel the need to rush things in the ring anymore. "If I were to put in a little more effort, I could have knocked out Munguia too," he said, "but I'm having none fun." Canelo's confidence is unmistakable, and it's clear that he's in control of his own career, but with fewer and fewer big names left to fight at 168 lbs, the question remains, what's next? While Crawford and Benavidez may not be on the immediate horizon, the fans' appetite for these matchups isn't going away anytime soon, and as Canelo approaches 2 decades in the sport, the intrigue surrounding his future only grows outside the ring. Canelo's life seems just as full as ever. He's focused on his business ventures, and his beloved car collection is complete, with a prized LA Ferrari sitting at the top of the list. His family life is going well with his children, healthy and growing, and while he's open to the idea of one day supporting them, if they choose to follow in his footsteps as a boxer, he's also clear that he wants to guide fighters in other ways too. "If I'm still in boxing after I retire, it's going to be to help the fighters and teach them how boxing really works," he said, hinting at a future in the business side of the sport.
Right now, because of the meditation, yeah. I feel in my best. I feel not just in boxing, in life.
Life and relationships.
Friends, business, boxing, everything.
For now, Canelo's focus is on his next fight. It may not be the one that fans are most excited about, but it's the one on the schedule, and with Canelo, there's always the possibility of a knockout or a masterclass performance, but things just keep getting interesting. In a recent video interview, Terence Crawford spoke about the difficulty in securing a fight with Canelo Alvarez, shedding light on what he sees as hypocrisy and excuses coming from the Mexican champion. Crawford began by stating just how significant this fight would be for him personally. He revealed that facing Canelo was a major goal and a motivating factor in his career. "To be honest, that was my motivation to fight," Crawford said, reflecting on how much he was looking forward to the challenge. However, the prospect of the fight seemed to grow more distant, and Crawford couldn't help but notice the tactics and reasons Canelo offered to avoid it. It's crazy, and it makes me laugh with all the antics that Canelo is doing and saying in the media about the size, and he won't get any credit in all these types of things. Crawford said, implying that Canelo's excuses didn't hold much weight.
All the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost.
One of Crawford's key points was calling out what he sees as hypocrisy in Canelo's reasoning. Canelo has mentioned that the size difference between him and Crawford would make the fight unfair and that he wouldn't get credit for beating a smaller opponent, but Crawford fired back, pointing out that Canelo has a history of fighting smaller opponents throughout his career. Canelo has been fighting smaller guys his whole career. Crawford said he specifically highlighted several instances where Canelo took on opponents who were stepping up in weight to face him, including Floyd Mayweather, Amir Khan, and Jermall Charlo. Canelo fought a smaller Mayweather. Canelo fought a smaller Amir Khan. He fought Jermall Charlo. Crawford noted, adding that Canelo had no issue taking those fights despite the size differences. Crawford further emphasized that size wasn't an issue for Canelo in those bouts, so it shouldn't be an excuse now. Canelo's victories over smaller opponents didn't seem to bother him before, and Crawford believes the argument doesn't hold water when applied to their potential fight.
Fight, realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you still pursuing it?
Not at all. I think business talk. With the right business come across the table, it happened. I just be talking, man. Canelo a big dude, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I believe in my abilities. He's a heavy dude, but he's not a big guy. Like, he's 5'8", I'm 5'8", you know what I mean? My arm's longer than his, so that fight would be good.
In addition to discussing size, Crawford also touched on the financial side of the fight, which he sees as another area where Canelo's reasoning doesn't add up. Canelo has reportedly demanded significant sums for fighting certain opponents, including a $200 million payday to fight David Benavidez and $150 million to face Crawford. To Crawford, these demands suggest that Canelo views him as a serious threat. If it's all about business, then you're doing beneficial business. If I were easy work, you would take all that money that he's offering you, Crawford remarked, referring to the high-profile nature of their potential fight, that he believes that if Canelo truly thought he could easily defeat him, he would take the fight for the financial gain alone, but he wants $200 million for Benavidez, and he wants $150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. Crawford said he interpreted Canelo's financial demands as a sign of respect, suggesting that Canelo is well aware of the risk he would be taking by facing Crawford. One of the most compelling aspects of this potential fight is the fact that Crawford would have to jump from welterweight, where he is dominant, all the way up to super middleweight to face Canelo, despite the daunting size difference. Crawford expressed confidence that he could dethrone Canelo at 168 lbs. It would be crazy for a guy who started at 135 to come all the way up to 168 with no catch weight or none of that and dethrone you. Crawford stated he acknowledged the enormity of the task, but also highlighted how historic such a victory would be. Crawford believes Canelo is fully aware of this possibility and sees it as a major risk, so he has that in the back of his head. This guy, for one, is tough. For two, he's a boxer. He moves. He can punch. He can do it all, Crawford said, explaining that Canelo knows he can't afford to slip up in a fight with him. For Crawford, the core issue is not whether Canelo would win or lose, but rather the perceived risk to Canelo's legacy. A loss to Crawford, especially after moving up 2 weight classes, could damage Canelo's reputation among his fans, particularly his Mexican fan base. I can't slip up and lose to this guy. Then what would my fans think of me? What would my Mexican people think of me? Crawford speculated, speaking from Canelo's perspective. Well, how do you think this fight would go? Share your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. See you next time.